Because of former President Zuma conviction of 15 months and the law states, this is the constitution, it's in the constitution, the law states, if you are convicted for more than 12 months, you cannot postulate yourself on a list, you cannot become a parliamentarian or a president. You have to wait 5 years before you can try to for any election. So former President Zuma cannot take part in the upcoming election in the next 4 days in South Africa. This was just handed down by the High Court, and so let's listen to what the judge said, and then we're going to discuss it. Take a listen.
Respect of the question whether Mr. Zuma was convicted as contemplated in section 47(1), this court finds that there is no difference between a conviction following criminal proceedings and a conviction following civil contempt of court proceedings, since a person is convicted of a criminal offence in respect of both proceedings. Section 47(1)(e) draws no distinction between convictions for civil contempt and other convictions. Therefore, the ordinary meaning of an offence should be given to the word, that it is a criminal offence. It is not for a court to limit the scope of the provision. The section clearly says, convicted of an offence and sentenced to more than 12 months imprisonment without the option of a fine. Mr. Zuma was convicted in that this court found him guilty of the crime of contempt of court. This court concludes that Mr. Zuma was convicted of an offence and sentenced to more than 12 months imprisonment for the purposes of section 47(1)(e) of the Constitution, and is accordingly not eligible to be a member of and not qualified to stand for election to the National Assembly until 5 years have elapsed since the completion of his sentence. In the result, the following order is made. The applicant is granted leave to appeal directly to this court. It is declared that Mr. Zuma was convicted of an offence and sentenced to more than 12-month imprisonment for purposes of section 47(1)(e) of the Constitution, and is accordingly not eligible to be a member of and not qualified to stand for election to the National Assembly until 5 years have elapsed since the completion of his sentence. The order of the Electoral Court is set aside and replaced with the following, and I quote, "The appeal is dismissed," close quotes.
So there you have it. Because of former President Zuma conviction of 15 months, and the law states, this is the constitution, it's in the constitution, the law states, if you are convicted for more than 12 months, you cannot postulate yourself on a list, you cannot become a parliamentarian or a president. You have to wait 5 years before you can try to for any election. But a month ago, the electoral body banned him from, for the said reason, because of his conviction. He took him to the court. It was overturned by the court, the decision by the electoral body. Then the higher court take it up, and now they uphold the original ban from the electoral body and overturn the decision by the lower court. Why? Because again, it's in the constitution. This also now led me to the MK party. The MK party knows this. President Zuma himself knows this. They know that if you have a conviction within 12 months, you cannot postulate yourself. But yet they try to they try to use playing people's emotions by putting him on the list to head the list in the first place, which they shouldn't do. They should have done because they know what the law states. President Zuma himself knows this, so they are trying to play on people's emotion and even the court system to go against their own constitution for one person, because of one person. And this is why I said sometimes people are too emotional when they come on to election. This is emotions, because and this also shows bad judgment by the MK party. Because if you know for a fact he cannot postulate himself on a list because he have been convicted for 15 months and the limit is 12 months. Even though he did not serve the entire 15 months, he only served 3 months, it's still he was still convicted. He wasn't overturned. So now they're talking about changing the constitution. You cannot change the constitution for one person, which only garnering at the moment up to 8% of votes, 8% of the entire voting bloc. So that's not even one. That's not even 10%. So how you want to change the law for this one person when you have 11 other parties who uphold the requirements for election postulation? 11 other parties, well, 10 other parties, it's 11 total, but MK make 11. So 10 other parties can stick to the law, but this one party want the law, want to go against the law, and they're using the court system and people's emotion to overturn the constitution. I thought this was a rule of law country. That's impossible. So that's not impossible. That's show bad judgment by the MK party, and that shows that they are not for country. Because if you're for country, you will follow the laws of the country and also the electoral body laws of the country. Now he want to go to the UN Human Rights Court. Why you want to go to a corrupt body that's run by colonizers? You want to go to them to tell you to to tell the country to overturn, to make you run for president, just for parliament, just because you want power. You're over 80 years old. You had your chance to change the trajectory of South Africa. You didn't. Now at 80 years, you want to go in again for power. 'Cause this is not love of country. Cause love of country would you would accept the fact you're a convicted felon. You cannot postulate. But no, you want to force the court. You want to use the court system and force your way in. No, it does not work like that. Rule of law stands. If you have love of country, as they claim, stick to the rule of law. And the party in itself should know better. So they show me they do not have love of country. Is power they're after. This is not like the other part. You have to stick to the law, no matter what. And this is what caused dictatorship because they want to change laws to fit and one person, one person, one person. And again, he should be in a more of an advisory role and leave the younger people to take the country by the helm and steer the country in the way for the younger generation. Not to drag the country back to the Stone Ages when you're an 80-year-old president who is stubborn, who don't want to accept something new. People at that age are set in their ways. They cannot change them. And again, he had his chance. He did not bring the country on a trajectory of um, prosperity as you promised. No, the country actually revert because he's a part of the ANC party, which now he breaks away and form his own party. So you are a part of the problem. Now you say you break away, you want to go a different direction. But why didn't you do this when he was president of the country? Why you did not do that at that time? No, you want to wait till years after to come and say, "Oh, give me another chance to do what? To do the same thing again." So I'm disappointed in the MK party for allowing this to happen and for trying to use people's emotion to garner protests or riot to put one person in who is not following the rule of law when 10 other parties are following the rule of law. So anyway, May 29th is the election for South Africa. Me personally, I'm back in the EFF, Viva EFF, just Malema. That's I'm biased to that because in this because I've followed Julius Malema for the past 2 years. His manifesto, everything I like about what he's trying to do for South Africa. MK party, not so much. ANC, definitely not. The DA party is a arm of the apartheid government, so that's not. And then the other party with the guy, I forget his name. He's anti-African. I don't like that because he's trying to put out every other African nation out of South Africa. I do not agree with that. We are about a united Africa, not a divide or a separate Africa. Sorry, a division. We don't want to sow division in the continent. We want for them to come together. So this idea of he want to get out all foreigners, and he's calling other African countries foreigners, not the whites, the Europeans, or the colonizers. He's calling his own brothers and sisters foreigners. So anyway, let me know what you think about this, about the decision by the High Court to ban President Zuma, former President Zuma, from postulating for the election, which I 100% agree with, and the poor judgment by the MK party to make this happen in the first place. They should have put him in an advisory position instead of the head of the party. Anyway, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. As always, I don't know. Telephone, like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching.